Yeah.
I think Ruto is one of the worst president Kenya has ever had. I'm going to hang economic thieves.
Hang.
Yes,
You're
they're
gonna put it into
going
law.
to be public hangings. We're going to change the law
Yeah.
to ensure that people who have been caught stealing money from the public
Be held accountable.
are prosecuted.
Yeah.
But I've been arrested so many times that, and every arrest is always different. There's people who say, umezoea kushikwa.
Yeah.
Huwezi kushikwa.
Yeah.
It's like being used to pain. You can't get used to pain.
That's true.
As an inmate, I was supposed to be under protection of government.
Yeah.
But I gave them so much trouble fighting for the people's rights. They kicked me out.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tide Talks with me, Tyrone Kimani. Tide Talks aspires to inspire the current and future generations by telling stories of people who have succeeded in their vocations and careers. Today, I'm very honored to have somebody I've looked up to. He's not afraid to speak the truth. He stands for what is right. He's only 42 years old. He's a father. He's a husband. He's a photojournalist. He's a politician. He's an activist. I think he wears many hats. I'm really honored to have Boniface Mwangi.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much
nice
for coming,
to meet you.
Boniface. Finally,
Finally.
I literally had to hunt you down, but you came through. So thank you for that.
You got a big catch. You caught me eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's worth it. Let's just start by asking, who is Boniface Mwangi?
Wow, many things. I think what I brag about myself a lot and I'm proud of is that I'm a father of 3 kids, 3 amazing kids, and I'm married to Njeri Mwangi.
Yeah, I saw you recently celebrated 18 years of marriage. I think this past weekend. So congratulations.
Yes, I've been there for a long time. My marriage is old enough to get an ID.
It's a full adult right
A
now.
full adult. My marriage will vote for me.
Congratulations and wishing you many more. So I know you grew up in Taveta, you grew up with your grandparents in Nyeri, then you came to Nairobi. Tell me a bit about your childhood and upbringing.
My childhood was very eventful because my mother was what you'd call a gypsy.
Mm-hmm. She liked moving around.
She moved around a lot. She was into trading, selling things between Kenya and Tanzania. She was then selling books in Nairobi. Then she was selling kendo. She was just trying to make a living by survival. So I lived in many places. Actually, one time we lived in the GSU camp in Ruaraka. Mm-hmm. So it was not a very comfortable childhood. I grew up in so much poverty. My wife was a joke that the first poor person she met was me. Because based on her upbringing and my upbringing, she grew up completely different.
Yeah.
Like she could not understand that such kind of poverty existed.
Yeah.
Where like 6 people would share a smaller room than this one that we're in.
Wow.
Yeah, so poverty, but with a lot of love. My mother loved me. And then with a lot of religion, actually. I grew up around the church for a long time. And
I know you studied the Bible, so yeah.
Yeah, I almost became a pastor. Yeah, so tough upbringing with love. But love cannot feed you sometimes.
That's true.
So I ran away from home when I was 11 years old and went to the streets to try and survive.
On your own, yeah. So you went to live with your grandparents at some point in Nyeri. How was that?
That was tough. But I thank my mother for doing that because by living in Nyeri, I learned to speak Ekoyo. My Ekoyo is very fluent.
Yeah.
It has helped me a lot navigating life, talking to my relatives, talking to my other grandmothers, talking to my in-laws. It has helped me a lot. And also, I understand a bit of culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at that time, it looked like punishment because I used to run away. I gave my grandmother so much trouble. She shipped me back to Nairobi. Yeah. Because I kept going missing.
Back to your mom?
Trying to get into buses, trying to get back to Nairobi. Then they take me back home. To a level where one time my mother said she's going to take me to the police station. I think I've been threatened with police stations before I was even 5 or 6.
Nothing new to you, yeah.
So yeah, that's how it was.
So let me ask this. Are you an only child?
No, we're 7 of us actually. I have a brother in Tanzania. Our 5th born, I think 5th or 4th born, was born, and then the father, because my mother was interesting. She had like about 7 kids in 6 different relationships.
Wow. Yeah.
So everyone was from a different father.
Yeah.
So one dad took his son and he took him back to Tanzania.
Okay.
So there are 6 of us left in this side of the country.
How many boys, how many girls?
So the one who was taken was a boy. And so there are 3 boys, 4 girls. And in Kenya now we had 4 girls, 2 boys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so after living with your grandmother, you came to live with your mom in Nairobi?
Came to live with my mom in Nairobi, but my mom was not into religion a lot. Disappear to go pray and fast, disappear to go for keshas, disappear for days on end, for just prayers and this bit of the nonsense that they do in these crusades that you see in Nairobi.
Yeah.
where someone would leave their job and their family to go and see their praying to God. But in a way, you're also neglecting your people.
Yeah.
So that was a bit tough, and that's the reason I ended up in the streets. I got arrested, ended up in approved school.
Oh, let me ask you this. I read somewhere that you were expelled from school when you're doing your KCSE. Is that true?
I was expelled from approved school
Okay.
for protesting about injustices in the school. So I got jailed by the government of Kenya.
Yeah.
Taken to a place where they're supposed to take convicts and
Yeah.
serve my time. I was actually at an inmate number, 13583.
Mm-hmm.
As an inmate, I was supposed to be under protection of government.
Yeah.
But I gave them so much trouble fighting for the people's rights. They kicked me out.
Yeah. So you've always been let's say a rebel.
Yeah, I've been a rebel for a while. Like,
Yeah.
I think I hate injustice. So
Yeah.
it's not actually a rebel per se.
You
It's
stand up for what you believe in, basically.
yes,
Yeah.
but it comes at a very huge cost.
Yeah, that's true. So after that, I saw that your mom passed away when you were 17 or something.
I was 17, man, yeah.
And so to sustain your life and to educate yourself, you had to sell books on the streets.
I was a
right?
street worker. I was selling books.
Yeah.
I have
How was that experience?
It was hard because I would leave. Sometimes I'd leave class,
Mhm.
go to sell books, get arrested, end up in a police station for
Wow.
hawking.
Okay, yeah.
Then you have to find a way out. Maybe you have to bribe. Then you get out. So I'd go to class and then concentrate. By 4 o'clock when class is ending, mimi huyo tao, because I was paying my own rent.
Yeah,
I was paying my own fees and I was supporting my younger siblings to pay their
Oh.
fees.
it's hectic. Where
Yeah.
were you studying at the time? And was that when you were studying the Bible?
So the Bible school, yes, it
Yeah.
was in Kilimani area. It's called the Joshua Generation.
Mhm.
That's the Bible school that I went to.
Mhm.
Then I went to a school called the East African School of Journalism.
Mhm.
It was near City Mortuary.
Yeah.
So you'd call it Mortuary University.
Is it still there? It's not in existence
It closed
anymore.
down. Yeah.
Okay. And then after that, did you realize that you wanted to be a photojournalist, or how did that journey
So
begin?
it is interesting how I became a photojournalist. It began with when I was in my teens.
Mhm.
When I exposed the wrongdoings in my school,
Mhm.
I used photos as evidence. So
Yeah.
my mother bought my first camera.
That's very clever. Yeah.
when I was 14, yeah, 14,
Yeah.
15. And then, so I stopped taking photos. Then when I was in Bible school,
Mhm.
one of my lecturers, her name is Esther Morakinyo, had worked for a guy called Mohammed Amin.
Yeah, I heard that was your inspiration.
Yeah, that's
he
the
passed away
greatest.
in a plane crash. Yeah.
Yes. That's the greatest
Sorry, plane. It was hijacked. Yeah.
hijacked plane crash
Yeah.
in Comoros.
Yeah.
In Comoros. So Esther Morakinyo introduces me to Mohammed Amin's work,
Mhm.
and I get blown away. And
Mhm.
I thought, yeah, I'm gonna become a photographer
Yeah.
and become a good one at it. Well, at it, yeah.
And his son is a photographer. as
Salim
we speak.
Amin, yeah, he runs camera
Took
pics.
over his father's
Yeah.
business. And so after that spark that led you to be interested in photography, what did you pursue from there?
So I became a photojournalist, got a job at 21, I believe. Joined the Standard, where I worked for about 4 years.
Mhm.
And then I covered the infamous post-election violence.
Yeah, and you got PTSD from that. I heard.
got
Yeah.
affected by that, and then I quit my job.
Yeah.
And that began my activism journey.
So yeah, let's go to that period of 2007, 2008 during the post-election violence. You saw what was going on, the destruction, the killings, all that chaos. So that spurred you, even further to pursue photojournalism, right?
No, it actually pushed me away from photojournalism because
Really?
I'd covered violence.
Yeah.
This documented violence for about 2 months that was
Mhm.
very, very bad. And then when I came out from that entire experience,
Mhm.
I saw the politicians had moved on from that. They were high-fiving, they were sitting on the same table,
Mhm.
and a few months earlier, their
Opponents.
supporters
Yeah.
were fighting
Yeah.
and killing each other. And that really upset me, and that's why I quit photojournalism.
And that gained you a lot of what's it called, attention. I saw you won Photojournalist of the Year from CNN. Is it twice?
I won the CNN Journalist of the Year twice.
Yeah.
I was nominated thrice, but I won twice, yes.
Yeah. I also saw you were named among the 100 most influential Africans at some point as well.
For a couple of years, yes.
That's actually quite impressive. At before 40, you got all of those awards.
Yeah, I won a couple of small and big awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're trying to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
But like, what would you say is the most meaningful award you won?
Wow. I think the photography one. No, okay, let me say financially, actually, when I was in my 20s, I think 2011
Mhm.
or 12,
Mhm.
I won the Prince Claus Award. It's given by the French government
Mhm.
to people who doing like work that actually has an impact. And then at that particular time, I was running Power 254 and was struggling financially. And they gave me an award of 3 million shillings, which is a lot of money that time. And I was able to give Power 2 million, and then I bought myself a car from that. So it was meaningful because there was money in it.
Let's talk about Power. You can tell us a bit about what it stands for and what it does.
So before the tunataka Power. So Power is PWA, PAWA, which means power. And then 254 is the country code.
Kenya,
so it's power to Kenyans, power to the community. And the whole idea is a space for creatives who can come together and use their art for social change. So I gathered these crazy journalists, activists, filmmakers, photographers, graffiti artists, poets. And they had a space for them to come together every week. We had debates, we had trainings. And I did that for a while. And till today, Power still exists.
Wow.
There are many, many artists who are in this city earning their living from their art because of what Power 254 did. So
and
that
do
was
you
Power.
Run it with your wife? I saw.
So my wife, I left the organization in 2016. And my wife now works there.
Oh, nice. Speaking of family, I read that you met your wife at Sailors.
No, we got married at the Sailors Club. And for guys who don't know, Nairobi had a sailing club. Nairobi Dam was a proper
I was trying to wonder what it was.
Sailing club. People would sail there.
Yeah,
and if you want to own a gun, they have a range there.
So what year did you actually meet Jerry?
Oh, it was quick. Love at first
sight. And how
sight.
did you meet actually?
2006.
How did you hear that?
So it's a funny story. So I go to Steers. I used to ride a motorbike. I had a nice bike. Those days there were no borders. So if you had a bike, it was a hot thing, man. So me on my 2 wheels, I go to Steers, upstairs. And there was a group of friends of mine. No, a group of people. But one of them was a friend of mine called Maxi. And so I meet Maxi there. Maxi was talking to this crowd of people. And they were having a debate. At that particular week in Mavuno Church, they had the sermon about sex in the city. The series. You know, there's a series called Sex in the City. It's for old people like us. It was a long time ago.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
That's the one. So they were debating about, the sermon series was about sex in the city, and they were debating about sex in the city. And the sermon series, was it okay? Was it untoward? So there was a debate. And my wife was part of that debate. And the way she thought and held her ground.
It was articulate.
And she argued her case. It was like, I'm going to marry that one.
So you approached her when she argued that case?
I couldn't get, my boy was trying to tune her. So it took me a month to get her number. So I could not slide in so soon.
So you sliced your boy basically?
No. No, my boy was my transport manager at my wedding. So you got a role.
That's nice. And speaking of like you fighting for what's right, activism, human rights, when did you start all of that?
Wow, when I was born, perhaps. I think, so I met people who knew me when I was a young guy, like a young child. And they said there was something about me because I would speak up. And when I look at my daughter, who is now 15, she's like me. My daughter just speaks her, she just speaks her mind. And so when I really became an activist, I think it's after post-election violence. But all along, there were signs of what I wanted to do. I wanted to say, but the problem was I was scared of consequence. I was scared of being beaten. I was being called kiherehere, usionge. And then, you know, in our days, and like now when I'm raising my kids are allowed to speak when they're strangers and adults. In our days, we never spoke when there was an adult. When visitors came to the house, mnaamua mkacheze nje.
Go and play outside.
Go and play outside. So we were never allowed to have thoughts, or if you had thoughts, you were never allowed to communicate. We were never even allowed to ask questions. I remember when you were young, you could not do this. Do you know how many guys were beaten for doing that? He was. How are you? And then I realized the sound that you sometimes the body makes when people are having sex. So every time, so every time you do that, your parents are like, millennials would relate to that. You see, they're laughing.
I can see. So you always had that fire in you, and you made it become a reality.
And I wish so and that fire was, I wish it was honest, because you see the problem of learning many things on your own is that you learn them through making mistakes, and it's not a good thing.
It's trial and error.
Bana, like it should have been unapelekwa hivi na you should have what's the word I'm looking for, unapango, like
but be shown the path,
shown the path. Yes. Not like, because I think it's very expensive to learn from your own mistakes. It's very expensive by learning from yourself.
But then again, mistakes also make you learn, and then next time you do the thing differently.
So they say this: good judgment
Yeah.
comes from experience.
Yeah.
Experience comes from bad judgment.
True.
So you have to make mistakes to learn what works.
That's true.
Yeah, but not everything.
That's true.
Yeah.
So let's say you meet somebody for the first time and they ask you what you do. Do you say you're a politician? Do you say you're activist? Do you say you're a journalist? What do you say you are?
I am. What am I? I'm an active citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Now we go into politics. How did you decide you want to be a politician? Because I know you're running for the top seat next year, which is the general
Yes.
election.
Wow.
How did you go into politics in the first place?
I think my running was given based on what I've been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
But also it's coming from a place where I feel like the country is heading in the wrong direction,
Mm-hmm.
and there is need for bold and courageous leadership,
Mm-hmm.
and people who can actually fight for Kenyans,
Mm-hmm.
not against Kenyans.
Mhm.
We need a leadership that does not kill its people,
Mm-hmm.
but protects its people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm vying. And I was, before I decided to vie, I was going around people that I thought should vie,
Mm-hmm.
and you convince some of them to vie.
Yeah.
But when they got the platform to vie, they're not
Mhm.
talking about the issues that are actually affecting the majority of young people.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm vying.
Let me ask you this. You know, you're going for the higher seat. Did you ever think of starting a bit lower and then climbing your way up, or you decided just to go for it straight?
You see, the problem is at the very top.
Yeah.
And I want to do a cleanup job. So
Yeah.
for me to clean the country, I have to be the president.
Uh-huh. So campaigning and running up to elections is very expensive. So you need the funding, you need the manpower. How are you able to raise all of that?
I have my manifestos. Do you have some of them? I'm going to pass them some of them right now.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to ask you, what is in your manifesto?
Yes, so
That
I am
written
fundraising
agreement,
actually. So sec. So I'm going around distributing my manifestos, but also asking Kenyans
Yeah.
to support my
Clean
campaign.
politics, no handouts. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm asking, I have an M-Pesa number, which is 5010-215.
Yeah.
I'm going to launch a campaign actually very
And then
soon.
the send money is 0117 777
And there's a M-Pesa till number is 5010-215. But
Yeah.
next week, actually, I'm launching a campaign called 10 Bob Naboni,
Mm-hmm.
10 Bob to State House.
Yeah.
And ideally, it's for you to support me. You just give me 10 Bob every week. Don't give me even more. If you have more,
Yeah.
you can give me. But if
That's
every,
like 40 bob a month. Yeah.
40 Bob a
Yeah.
month. And then with that 40 Bob,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what your 10 Bob did that week.
Yeah.
I'm going to go knock doors. I'm going to have political rallies.
Yeah.
I'm going to traverse this country
Yeah.
campaigning.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then is your political party still called Ukweli, or you change your name?
Then it's called Ukweli Party. Chama
Yeah.
cha Ukweli.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like the name. It means truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you stand for truth.
Yes, I do.
Speaking of, you running against the opposition, you faced so many hardships. You've been tortured, you've been assaulted. There's so many things you've gone through. How do you bounce back from all those setbacks?
So, so I think I'd count on my family. I think my family is a very big pillar.
I'm going to go into that actually after this.
So my wife and kids. Then I don't have many friends. I have
Yeah.
very few friends.
Yeah,
But I
selective.
have solid friends who are
Mm.
very good.
Mm.
The other thing, meditation works magic.
Mm.
I meditate, not all the time. I wish I could meditate every
Mhm.
day. I think I used to meditate almost every day.
Yeah, I was going to ask, since you used to be studying the Bible, are you still a very active spiritual and religious person?
I'm a very spiritual. I'm not religious at
Okay,
all.
yeah, spiritual.
I'm
yeah.
a very spiritual person. And then I love hiking when I get
Yeah.
a chance to. But the Tanzanian government fucked up my feet.
Yeah,
So I might sit here when I wake up, I'm limping.
yeah,
Then the other thing I enjoy doing is reading.
yeah.
I can read anything.
Good for your mind. Yeah,
And then lastly, I enjoy some nice movie.
yeah.
And if I have good company, I could have a whiskey or a gin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask this. We spoke about family just now. How does your family maintain composure? Let's say you've been abducted, they don't know where you are. That must bring them a lot of stress and
It's
so many other factors. They don't know where you are. They're worried. Is he safe? Is he eating? Is he alive? Like, how do they deal with all of that?
I don't know how they deal with it,
Yeah.
but I know it's not easy. There's a
Yeah.
lot of trauma from that.
Yeah.
And I know it has affected my kids now
A
and
lot.
then, and they
Yeah.
have to get help and get a support system.
Yeah.
Because even I get worried when I'm being arrested because
Yeah.
Tanzania was bad, but I've been arrested so many times that, and every arrest is always different. There's
Mhm.
people who say, umezoea kushikwa.
Yeah.
Umezoea kushikwa.
Yeah.
It's like being used to pain. You can't
Yeah.
get used to pain.
That's true.
Yeah. So,
And there's always different types of pain. It's not the same type of
yeah,
pain.
it's, and also being violated, people touching you, people
Yeah.
holding you, people
Yeah.
pushing you, people insulting you,
Yeah.
getting handcuffed and you haven't committed an offense. it's very violating actually.
That's true.
Yeah.
Would you say it has made you have thick skin?
I'm a softie.
Yeah.
I'm a big teddy bear.
Yeah.
I'm a very soft guy, but nothing scares me.
Yeah.
So nothing worries me.
Yeah. I think you actually, to describe you, I'd say you're defiant. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I'm a dissident.
Yeah. And then coming back to politics, these same people have been in power. It's like they recycle the same people. There's no new people. So you bring a fresh face to all of this. Somebody would ask you, what is Boniface Mwangi going to do differently than what these other people have done?
For a start, I will not kill you. I will not abduct you.
Yeah.
I will not steal.
Yeah.
But most importantly, there will be rule of law.
Yeah.
I will respect human rights. And then I can guarantee that every single Kenyan who's going to school will get free education, free quality education. I'm going to guarantee free healthcare. And number 3, there will be free sanitation. So water for home use is going to be free for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes. And the police will work for you, not against you. And they will not treat Kenyans as money machines where they just extort.
Yeah.
And also finally, I promise that when I become president, I'm going to hang economic thieves.
Hang.
Yes,
You're
they're
gonna put it into
going
law.
to be public hangings. We're going to change the law
Yeah.
to ensure that people who have been caught stealing money from the public
Be held accountable.
are prosecuted.
Yeah.
The money they stole is recovered.
Yeah.
And when they get convicted, depending on the severity of the offense they did
Yeah.
and how many people died because of the theft that they did, they should be sentenced to death.
Yeah.
And when that happens, and they exhaust all their appeals, we're going to not abduct and throw people in Rivayala. No. Judiciary.
Yeah.
And when they exhaust all their appeals, we shall take them to Uhuru Park and they shall be hung publicly.
Wow. That's quite bold. Yeah.
And some Kenyans are saying,
Yeah.
why use a rope when you can use a bullet? Maybe you do a firing squad. That's what China does.
Yeah.
So if you can borrow money from China, we can borrow best practices from China on how to deal with economic thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was going to ask this.
Or we can persuade them to commit suicide if they don't want to be hanged in public.
That's a bit extreme.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
What they're doing is extreme.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, my brother, Thai, right? When you steal money for healthcare, women die while giving birth.
That's true.
Kids die of curable diseases or preventable diseases.
Yeah.
People have road accidents because the road was built shoddily.
Yeah.
Buildings collapse because a contractor cut corners or someone, an architect did not buy steel, he bought timber. All those shortcuts lead to death.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
why are you being merciful to someone who has caused deaths of thousands, if not millions?
Yeah.
And the truth is, poor people hate poor criminals.
That's true.
They have a very low tolerance of a chicken thief, a mobile snatcher, someone who steals clothes, a pickpocketer, a side mirror thief. They lynch them. They beat them to death.
Yeah.
They even demand police, shoot them.
Yeah.
Now we need to shoot the big thieves.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of work.
Yes. So if
But you're willing, yeah.
we Kenyans are ready to hang these
Yeah.
people. And I'm saying, Kenyans, if you want to hang thieves, I'm the president who will hang thieves.
We'll wait and see.
Yes.
Speaking of current times, Kenya seems to have a discrepancy. It can never be too hot, too cold. We've seen the floodings recently.
Yeah.
Almost 50 people plus have died. And then the other extreme is drought. How do you say one can maintain the balance? And speaking of flooding, I think Kenyan citizens also have a part to play because we litter, and then this causes the
blockage
to block.
The littering does not cause as much blockage. I think what is causing a lot of blockage actually is actually
The whole system.
let's take an example of our Winskotek Road. The road is supposed to be wider.
Yeah.
You go, when you're walking there, the drainage disappears because someone built on top of the drainage. So there's a lot of illegal buildings on top of drainage. You have land on rivers. So you have
Riparian land. Yeah.
riparian land. So there's a lot of loss of land that has led to that problem. Also, we have tarmacked so many surfaces. The areas that you walk around and there's no place where the earth can absorb the water.
That's true.
The other thing is we don't have a stormwater solution where we can say if you build this house and there's stormwater, do you collect that rainwater to use and recycle?
Yeah.
So all the water that comes here just goes to the river and then it's wasted.
That's true.
So there's a lot of things that actually need to be put in place.
Yeah.
And then you have people who collect garbage
and dump it.
then dump it in the river.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that are not working. But that does not excuse littering. Littering is wrong.
That's true. It's inexcusable. And we also have a part to
But
play. I
also
think everybody has
say
a part
the
to play.
government, there's a lack of dustbins.
Yeah.
If you go to, when I was growing up, there were dustbins everywhere.
Yeah.
Nowadays you can go to a public school and there's not a single dustbin.
Yeah.
Forget about even communities.
Mm-hmm.
There were days where there were trucks used to come to collect garbage. So you'll pay land rates and pay garbage money, but you still have a cartel collecting garbage, and they don't even recycle the garbage.
Yeah.
So it's an entire mess
that
needs to be unpacked.
Yeah, I understand that. And then there's so many things going on. I saw recently that the National Infrastructure Fund was signed into law. What do you think of that?
I think it's another scam. Everything this guy does is a scam. Yeah, he has a Midas touch.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he touches turns to dust.
Yeah, because I saw like one of the things they want to expand is the airport. I think that if it works and works well, it will be a good idea. But
there was actually a plan to. There was a contract we were paying billions of shillings for because it was cancelled. It was called Greenfields.
Mm-hmm.
That airport would have been expanded like 10 years ago. Problem is, today if you go to JKIA, it was built and designed like a bus stop, like Machakos Country Bus. It's one of the ugliest buildings I've ever seen. And I also think that the guys who built JKIA, because they stole a lot of money, also need to be executed in public.
And don't you remember when it flooded? That was an embarrassment for Kenya.
It's a big shame for this country
that
you have an airport that even doesn't have a waiting bay. Normally, let me tell you, so if you want to understand how corrupt Kenya is, look at the airport. So assume you're traveling, you land at the airport, there's a first check. You alight from your car, you go through the check. Then you go into the airport. That's the first check. You go in, you go through another check, second check. Then you check in, then you do a third check. Then you board a flight, 4 checks.
Yeah.
Most countries in the world, like 90%, actually 99.9% of the countries that I've ever been to, globally, have only one check.
Yeah.
And the check comes after you've checked in.
Yeah.
Now, because Kenya is very corrupt, they have to put how many checks? 4. It shows how corrupt you are as a country.
Yeah. And then also, as I said, there's so many things going on. Nation Media Group has recently been acquired by a Tanzanian. A lot of people.
That guy called Zoo.
Heard he was a politician or something.
He bought Bamburi Cement. He's called who that? Mastro, Shipro.
A lot of Kenyans I've seen, especially on Twitter, are saying this is
these people get the
betrayal
name.
to Kenya because it's been sold to a foreign entity.
Aga Khan is a foreigner. Aga Khan is not even Kenyan.
Other people say that Tanzania doesn't allow freedom of press. What do you have to say about this?
I think we have lost Nation Media Group by Mastro. I need to get the name right. Sorry, Rostam. So this Rostam man was bought Nation Media Group in Kenya and Tanzania as well, because it's also in Tanzania and Uganda, the East African Standard. Is a very big blow to the freedom of speech, because already he's doing business in Tanzania and he's supporting the murderous regime of Suluhu. In Kenya, he bought, I think, Bamburi Cement, and it looks like he's Kasongo's friend. All that means that stories that are not favorable to the state are going to get killed. Someone was joking today that you're very senior journalists who are doing very good job, and very soon they'll be reported to Itumbi.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like you buying a house and then you getting kicked out, and the nanny is the boss, and now you work for the nanny. Or the houseboy, that is. Because typically those journalists will be working for house Negroes, or as Malcolm X would say, house niggers. Yeah.
And then there's Karura Forest. Some trees were cut down in terms of, they're saying they're going to build accommodation for NYS and also to plant seedlings. That's a whole nother story. Kenyans are very upset about that.
I think it's a land grab, actually, because so where Karura Forest is, the next road is called Thika Road.
Yeah.
Thika Road is a NYS complex where they have houses, they have buildings. You didn't have to cut indigenous trees to plant seedlings. It's a cartel. That's number one. Number two, if you're going to plant millions of seedlings, it doesn't make sense to transport seedlings. Normally, you plant seedlings and you have a nursery near where you're going to plant. You don't say you're going to plant seedlings in Kericho or in Lamu, and then the nursery is in Nairobi. It's just it's a waste of money. It's lack of thought. However, it could be a very deliberate way to get one leg in so you can grab. Because when you start seeing construction going on, wasema hao ni watu wanaishi hapo ndani. Wanaenda kuiba shamba. I think Ruto is one of the worst president Kenya has ever had.
And so now...
What do you think?
I will not say anything.
Auntie Tazusha.
How do you think the late Wangari Maathai would react if she was here? I saw her daughter
Wanjera Maathai.
I've seen her daughter is really upset about what's going on.
Yeah.
How do you think the late Wangari Maathai would have reacted to all of this?
She would be leading a protest in Karura Forest right now.
Yeah.
I think I understand why Wanjera Maathai is very upset. She's a friend of mine. And she's angry because her mother bled for that forest.
Did,
she bled for that forest. She bled for Uhuru Park. They paid a very heavy price as a family because of it was under Moi's government. They paid a very heavy price. And then later on, we are giving up Karura Forest without a fight. I think Kenya should be very angry. There should be protests. They should be organizing. They should tell Kasongo, we're not going to allow this to happen.
But the logging has already begun, so I don't think anything
can
be done about it.
You can stop it. You see, it's not all lost yet.
Yeah. That's a good question. And before we close, what advice would you give to someone who's young, wants to be an activist, wants to fight for human rights? You know, they might be scared of the oppressors. They might be scared of being intimidated, tortured. You know, what advice would you give them?
So I'll start from where you ended, that fear is normal.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong of you being afraid. It's okay to be afraid. But don't let fear polarize you, because fear helps you. It's a self-protection mechanism. Fear will help you plan, strategize, be deliberate in your plans. Now, if you believe in a cause, stand up. But don't go and stand in front of a tank or an armed cop. Start slowly. So take baby steps. A baby does not start by running.
Crawling.
They start by crawling.
Yeah.
So start by understanding the issues that you want to fight about. Is it about the environment? Is it about land rights? Is it about human rights? Understand those issues. Read books about it. Find people who have practiced in those particular areas and just study.
Yeah.
But I also believe that every single person in this world should be an activist.
Yeah.
Everyone should be an active citizen. You don't be an active citizen publicly and loudly. You can be an activist on mental wellness,
Silently, yeah, that's true.
alcoholism, depression, bad politics, bad sex. You can pick anything and say,
choose your poison.
Choose where. Say, this is what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So decide what you're going to be an activist about. But basically, every single person should be an activist. There's a lady, she's an American lady. Her name is Alice Walker. And she says, activism is a rent I pay to be in this world. So if you're going to be in this world, just the way you pray, be an activist.
Oh, that's a very, very good point. Last but not least, what would you give as your parting shot?
My parting shot is that, where is my camera? Niangalia wapi? That particular camera. Thank you, Ty, for hosting me. This
Thank
was
you
good.
for coming.
Yeah,
It's an honor.
thank you.
Yeah.
I would like every single person who's of age to get a voter's card. Find out who is vying in your community as an MCA, as a member of parliament, as a governor, and just decide to vote for the right person. We have a moment in a generation, a moment to change Kenya for the better, to get rid of the thugs who are destroying our country, to get rid of the bad leadership, and fix Kenya for good. So the only weapon you need in your hand to change bad leaders is a voter's card. Don't complain, don't whine, don't agonize, organize. And organizing starts with you getting a voter's card. Chukua kura. And when you decide to vote, and if you think my policies and you believe in them and you think they're going to change this country, consider me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bonafas. Basically, you're saying your vote is your voice. Yeah.
Yeah, your vote is your voice. Your vote is your weapon and is your voice. And together, it will shape our future.
Wow. I thank you so much. It's been an honor. I'm happy it actually came to pass.
Thank you very much.
I actually pursued you and it actually happened, so I'm proud of that. And
I'm proud of you for doing that.
Thank you. And
I wrote a book, actually. If you want to buy my book, I'm going to sell him my book today and sign it for him. So if you want to buy my book, it's called Unbounded. Get a copy as well.
For sure.
Yes.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching Thai Talks. I'm available on all social media platforms. That's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everything. At Tyrone Kimani is my handle. I thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you next time.
I know, tell them you have a side hustle. If you
that one is for another time. But, but Bonafas, thank you so much. I can't wait to see how the future unfolds for you.
Yes.
I love how you're so bold. I love how you're defiant. You speak for what's right and what you believe in. Continue doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my brother.
God bless everybody.